You know that feeling, right? The afternoon slump, the heavy eyelids, right when you need to be sharp? What if I told you that a solution to that exact problem was written down more than 2,000 years ago? Well, today we're going to dig into an ancient text that has a surprisingly modern cure for plain old drowsiness.
So where are we getting this from? It's called the Sutra on Dispelling Drowsiness, a Buddhist text from around the 3rd century AD. Yeah, this isn't some new self-help blog post. This is ancient wisdom passed down for centuries, and what it has to say is pretty fascinating.
I mean, of course you have. Who hasn't? You're trying to meditate or study, or you're in a big meeting, and suddenly your head starts to feel like a lead weight. Well, this ancient text starts with that exact, totally universal human feeling.
So let's get into the story. Because it doesn't begin with some abstract, high-level philosophy. Nope. It starts with a very real, very relatable problem being faced by a very dedicated monk.
So, meet Moggallāna. He's one of the Buddha's top disciples, a real heavy hitter. But even he wasn't immune to getting sleepy. The story goes that he was doing his walking meditation and was just so overcome with drowsiness that he was literally falling asleep on his feet. It's such a grounding, human way to start things off.
And this is where things get really interesting. The Buddha, sensing his student's struggle, just appears right there in front of him. But he doesn't scold him or anything. Instead, he sees this as a perfect teaching moment and offers a step-by-step plan to beat the sleepies.
And that brings us to the heart of this whole thing, the Buddha's 10-step cure for drowsiness. And it's not just one magic trick, it's this brilliant, escalating ladder of solutions you can try.
The logic is really smart. You start with the easiest, least disruptive thing first, and you only move to the next step if the last one didn't work. And the first few steps, they're all about shifting your mental state, without even moving an inch.
So, your first line of defense is all in your head. First, just try to stop clinging to whatever thoughts are making you zone out. If that doesn't work, get your brain active. Recite something you know by heart. Still drowsy? Try teaching it to someone. You can even just imagine you are. And finally, really truly think about what it all means. The goal is to just fire up your brain again.
Okay, but what if your brain just isn't playing ball? What if the sleepiness feels deep in your bones? Well, the Buddha had a plan for that too. The next set of steps shifts the focus from your mind to your body.
Now the advice gets physical and sensory. Splash cold water on your face, a classic for a reason, right? Then try gently pulling on your earlobes, which is meant to stimulate pressure points. And if that's not cutting it, just get up. Go outside, look at the horizon, maybe gaze up at the stars. Completely change your environment.
All right, so you've tried the mind tricks, you've tried the physical shocks, but you're still fighting to stay awake. The final steps are about bringing you back to your formal practice, but with a different, more conscious approach.
The Buddha suggests trying some mindful walking, really paying attention to your body. Then go back and try sitting again. But this last step, this one is incredible. As a total last resort, if sleep is just going to win, don't just give in. Lie down on your right side mindfully, with the clear intention of waking up refreshed, not just indulging in laziness.
Now you'd think that's where the story ends. I mean, we just got this super practical 10-step guide. But this is where the Buddha completely flips the script. He reveals he isn't just talking about physical sleepiness.
He says this directly to Moggallāna. The warning shifts from just sleeping to the mental state of delighting in comfort, in laziness, and, this is the real kicker, delighting in worldly praise. This is the drowsiness he's actually trying to cure.
So the sutra draws this really sharp contrast. You have the drowsy mind, which is always restless, always seeking praise, trying to win arguments, needing to be around people. And then you have the awake mind, which is the opposite. It values solitude, it speaks only when it's helpful, and it lets go of all those ego games. And the Buddha lays out exactly why this is so important. He says it's a chain reaction. Chasing praise or winning arguments, that leads to arrogance. Arrogance leads to jealousy. And jealousy creates a disturbed, restless mind, which is the total opposite of the focus you need. It's a spiritual sleepiness.
So Moggallāna, who is definitely wide awake at this point, understands that the problem is way bigger than just nodding off. And this realization leads him to ask the ultimate question.
He basically asks, so how do we do it? How does a person achieve that ultimate goal, that complete freedom, the end of the entire path? In other words, how do I wake up completely and for good?
And this ultimate practice he's asking about, Well, that's the whole shebang. It's not just about feeling focused for an hour, it's about reaching a state of unshakable peace, of total liberation from the cycle of suffering. It's the end goal. And it all comes down to this. The Buddha's final answer is so profound. He says you have to watch every single feeling that arises, the good, the bad, and the just neutral, and see them all for what they are. Temporary, always changing, and not really you. You don't cling to the good stuff or push away the bad. And the result of that practice is absolutely transformative. The Sutra says that when you finally stop clinging to all these fleeting experiences, you become fearless. You're no longer thrown around by life's ups and downs. This, the Buddha says, is true awakening. This is the end of suffering.
So, we started this whole thing with a monk literally falling asleep, and we ended with the path to complete liberation. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Is it just physical tiredness we're struggling with? Or is it a deeper, mental drowsiness? That clinging to praise, to ego, to comfort? What kind of sleepiness is holding you back?